The charity project and the book were both steps toward moving beyond the past. They represented a commitment to personal growth and a desire to make a positive difference in the world. Each endeavor was a way to transform the pain of betrayal into a force for good. Jennifer and I were navigating the complexities of our collaboration with mutual respect and understanding. The project was a testament to the possibility of redemption and the power of working together for a common cause. As I continued to reflect on the journey, I realized that the road to healing and reconciliation was a long one. It required patience, understanding, and a willingness to embrace change. The experiences of the past had shaped who I was, but they did not define my future. I was determined to move forward with a sense of purpose and hope. The story of our lives was evolving, and with each step, I was working to build a future that embraced growth, redemption, and the possibility of new beginnings. The charity project, which Jennifer and I had embarked upon, had begun to take shape. It was both exhilarating and exhausting to be involved in something that was meant to heal and support others while simultaneously working through my own process of recovery. The initiative aimed to provide resources and support to individuals who had experienced betrayal and were looking for ways to rebuild their lives. It was a cause that resonated deeply with both of us, as it mirrored our personal journeys. Our first major event was a fundraiser aimed at raising awareness and funds for the initiative. We organized it at a local community center, inviting friends, colleagues, and media personalities who had followed our story. The event was a significant undertaking, involving countless hours of planning, coordination, and promotion. As the day of the fundraiser approached, the preparations were intense. Jennifer and I worked closely with our team to finalize the details, from the venue setup to the event program. We had arranged for guest speakers, live music, and a silent auction, hoping to create an engaging and impactful experience for our attendees. The night of the fundraiser arrived, and the community center was abuzz with activity. The turnout was impressive, with a diverse group of people coming together to support our cause. Jennifer and I greeted guests and participated in various aspects of the event, from the opening speeches to the closing remarks. During the evening, I took a moment to reflect on how far we had come. The fundraiser was not just about raising money, it was about making a statement that despite the challenges and betrayals of the past, there was a way forward. It was a testament to the resilience and determination that had defined our journey. Jennifer and I were approached by several attendees who expressed their support and shared their own stories of overcoming personal hardships. Their stories were a powerful reminder of the impact that our initiative could have. It was moving to see people connect with the cause and express their appreciation for the work we were doing. By the end of the night, the fundraiser had been a success. We had raised a substantial amount of money and gained valuable support for the charity project. The positive feedback and encouragement from attendees were uplifting and reaffirmed the importance of our efforts. In the aftermath of the event, Jennifer and I continued to work on various aspects of the project. We developed resources and support programs for individuals dealing with betrayal, including counseling services, support groups, and educational materials. The initiative began to gain traction, and we were able to make a meaningful impact on the lives of those who sought our help. Despite the progress, there were moments of tension and difficulty. Collaborating with Jennifer required navigating our past and maintaining a professional focus on the project. We had to manage our interactions carefully, ensuring that personal feelings did not interfere with the work we were doing. One day, as we were reviewing the latest progress reports, Jennifer looked at me with a thoughtful expression. "Mark, I've been reflecting on our journey and everything we've accomplished. I know things were challenging between us, but I hope we can find a way to move forward with a sense of closure and mutual respect." Her words were sincere, and I appreciated the gesture. The collaboration had provided a path toward healing, and it was important to acknowledge the positive steps we had taken. I agree, Jennifer. Working on this project together has been a journey in itself. I value the progress we've made and the opportunity to contribute to something meaningful. As we continued to work together, our professional relationship grew stronger. The project became a source of inspiration and a way to channel our experiences into positive change. We were both committed to making a difference and finding a way to move beyond the past. In the months that followed, the charity project gained recognition and support from various organizations and individuals. We received numerous accolades and expressions of gratitude from those we had helped. The project was becoming a beacon of hope and a testament to the possibility of redemption and growth. The book I was working on also progressed steadily. It was evolving into a comprehensive guide to personal recovery, filled with practical advice and insights from my own experiences. The writing process continued to be therapeutic, allowing me to explore and address the emotional aspects of my journey. As I reflected on the impact of the charity project and the progress of my book, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges and betrayals of the past had shaped my path, but they had also led me to a place of greater understanding and resilience. The story of my life was unfolding in new and unexpected ways. The charity project, the book, and the ongoing process of healing were all part of a larger narrative of growth and transformation. With each step forward, I was building a future that embraced hope, redemption, and the possibility of new beginnings. As the charity project gained momentum and my book neared completion, I was finally beginning to feel a sense of balance and achievement. The work was fulfilling, and the support from those around me was encouraging. However, life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges our way, and the serenity I had found was soon disrupted by a series of unforeseen events. It began with a phone call from Brian, the journalist who had covered the scandal extensively. He wanted to meet and discuss a potential follow-up story. I was taken aback. Brian and I hadn't been in touch since the initial media frenzy. And his sudden reappearance stirred a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe, a familiar setting that had become our go-to spot for conversations. When Brian arrived, he looked somewhat subdued but earnest. He had a stack of papers and a serious expression, which immediately piqued my concern. "Mark," Brian began, "I appreciate you agreeing to meet. I've been working on a follow-up piece about the impact of the scandal on your life and the charity project. However, I've come across some information that I believe is important to address." I leaned forward, intrigued. "What kind of information?" Brian hesitated before continuing. "There are allegations that the charity project is not entirely as it seems. Some sources claim that the funds raised might not be reaching the intended beneficiaries. There are whispers of mismanagement and misallocation. I'm not saying these are true, but it's something that needs to be investigated." The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. The integrity of the charity project was something I had worked tirelessly to uphold, and the thought of any wrongdoing was deeply unsettling. "I assure you," I said firmly, "that everything has been handled with complete transparency. We've adhered to all regulations and guidelines. If there's any concern, I'd like to address it directly." Brian nodded. "I understand, and I'm not accusing you of anything. I just think it's crucial to ensure that everything is above board, especially given the public interest. I'd like to work with you to clarify these issues and dispel any doubts." The prospect of a potential scandal involving the charity project was alarming, but I recognized the importance of addressing the issue head-on. I agreed to cooperate with Brian and arranged for a thorough review of the project's financials and operations. In the days that followed, I worked closely with our finance team and external auditors to conduct a comprehensive audit. The process was painstaking, involving meticulous examination of records and interviews with key personnel. The goal was to clear up any misunderstandings and ensure that the charity's integrity remained intact. Jennifer, who was also deeply invested in the project, was equally concerned. We met regularly to discuss the developments and coordinate our efforts. The strain of the situation was palpable, but we both understood the importance of transparency and accountability. As the audit progressed, I found myself revisiting the core values and mission of the charity. It was a sobering reminder of why we had started the project in the first place: to help those in need and to make a positive impact. The potential for any misstep was a stark contrast to our original intentions. After several weeks of investigation, the audit results were finally compiled. The findings confirmed that the charity project had been managed appropriately and that the allegations of mismanagement were unfounded. The funds had been allocated correctly, and the support programs were operating as intended. Brian published a follow-up story acknowledging the audit's findings and clearing the charity project of any wrongdoing. The article also highlighted the positive impact of the initiative and the dedication of everyone involved. While the situation had been stressful, it ultimately reinforced the importance of maintaining integrity and transparency. The scrutiny had tested our resolve but also strengthened our commitment to the cause. In the aftermath of the audit, the charity project continued to thrive. We received renewed support and appreciation from the community, and the positive momentum helped to counterbalance the earlier concerns. As I resumed my focus on completing the book, I reflected on the challenges and lessons learned. The experience had been a reminder of the complexities of managing public perception and the necessity of upholding high ethical standards. Despite the setbacks, I remained optimistic about the future. The charity project and the book were both significant achievements, and they represented a path forward filled with potential and purpose. Each challenge faced and overcome added to the resilience and growth that defined my journey. The story of my life was evolving, with each chapter offering new insights and opportunities. The unexpected challenges had tested my resolve but had also reinforced the values that guided my efforts. As I looked ahead, I was determined to continue building a future that embraced hope, integrity, and the possibility of positive change. With the charity project back on track and the book nearing its final draft, I began to feel a renewed sense of optimism. The roller coaster of the past months had taught me the importance of resilience and adaptability. I was eager to see the positive impact of our efforts and to move forward with a clearer vision for the future. One crisp autumn morning, I was sitting at my desk, reviewing the latest draft of Rising from the Ashes, when I received a phone call that would lead me down an unexpected path. The call was from an old friend, Tom, whom I hadn't spoken to in years. He was now a successful entrepreneur with a keen interest in social causes, and he wanted to discuss a potential partnership. Tom and I had lost touch after college, but he had followed my journey and was aware of the recent developments. Our conversation began with catching up on old times, but soon, Tom shifted the focus to his current project. "Mark, I've been impressed by the work you've done with the charity and your book," Tom said. "I'm working on a new initiative that aligns with your mission, providing mentorship and support for individuals rebuilding their lives after personal crises. I'd love to explore the possibility of collaborating on this." The idea intrigued me. A mentorship program could complement our existing efforts and provide valuable support to those facing personal challenges. It was an opportunity to expand the impact of our work and offer additional resources to individuals in need. "I'm interested, Tom," I replied. "Tell me more about your initiative and how you envision our collaboration." Tom explained that his project was focused on creating a network of mentors who could offer guidance, support, and practical advice to individuals navigating difficult transitions. The program would pair mentors with mentees based on their experiences and needs, providing personalized support and encouragement. As I listened, I saw the potential for a meaningful partnership. The mentorship program could enhance the services offered by our charity and provide a more comprehensive approach to helping people rebuild their lives. I agreed to meet with Tom to discuss the details and explore how we could work together. A week later, Tom and I met at a modern co-working space where he had set up his office. We discussed the logistics of the mentorship program, including how to recruit and train mentors, how to match them with mentees, and how to measure the program's success. The planning sessions were invigorating. We brainstormed ideas, shared insights, and developed a clear framework for the program. It was clear that Tom's entrepreneurial experience and my background in personal recovery and support were a strong combination. We were both passionate about making a difference and excited about the potential impact of the mentorship initiative. As we moved forward with the planning, Jennifer and I continued our work on the charity project. We coordinated with Tom to integrate the mentorship program into our existing efforts. The program would provide an additional layer of support, helping individuals not only with practical resources but also with personal guidance and encouragement. The launch of the mentorship program was a major milestone. We held an event to introduce the program to the community, inviting potential mentors, mentees, and supporters. The event was well attended, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Many people expressed their enthusiasm for the opportunity to get involved and make a difference. Over the next few months, the mentorship program began to take shape. We recruited a diverse group of mentors from various backgrounds and experiences, ensuring a wide range of perspectives and expertise. The first cohort of mentees was selected, and the matching process began. As the program progressed, it became clear that it was having a significant impact. Mentors provided valuable guidance and support, helping mentees navigate their personal challenges and set goals for their future. The feedback from participants was encouraging, and the program began to generate positive buzz within the community. Throughout this process, I continued to work on my book, incorporating insights from the mentorship program into the final draft. The book was shaping up to be a comprehensive guide to personal recovery, drawing on both my experiences and the lessons learned from the mentorship initiative. Jennifer and I also maintained our collaboration on the charity project, ensuring that the program was well integrated and effectively supported. The partnership with Tom had added a new dimension to our work, and it was fulfilling to see the positive outcomes resulting from our combined efforts. As the year came to a close, I took a moment to reflect on the journey. The challenges of the past had led to unexpected opportunities and growth. The charity project, the book, and the mentorship program were all part of a larger narrative of resilience and positive change. Looking ahead, I felt a sense of excitement and hope. The work we were doing was making a difference, and the possibilities for the future were bright. Each step forward was a testament to the power of perseverance and the potential for new beginnings. The story of my life had evolved into one of transformation and purpose. With the support of friends like Tom and the dedication of our team, I was confident that we were on a path to creating lasting impact and continuing to build a future defined by hope and possibility. The release of Rising from the Ashes was on the horizon, and the anticipation was palpable. The book had become more than just a personal project, it was a culmination of months of reflection, hard work, and collaboration. The launch event was planned meticulously, and it promised to be a significant milestone in my journey. The day of the book release was bustling with activity. The venue for the launch was a prominent bookstore in the heart of the city, known for hosting high-profile events. The space was elegantly decorated, with copies of the book prominently displayed and a stage set up for the author's speech. As I arrived at the venue, I was greeted by a flurry of activity. The event team was putting the finishing touches on the setup, and the media was starting to arrive. The excitement in the air was infectious, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and nervousness. Jennifer, who had been a key collaborator on the charity project, was also present. Our professional relationship had evolved, and she had been supportive throughout the process. She had helped with the event planning and was eager to see the book's impact. When the time came for the launch event to begin, I took the stage to address the audience. The room was filled with friends, family, supporters, and media representatives. I took a deep breath and began speaking, sharing the story behind the book and the journey that had led to its creation. "Thank you all for being here today," I started. "This book is not just a reflection of my experiences but also a testament to the resilience and strength that each of us has within. The journey of writing this book has been transformative, and I'm grateful for the support I've received from so many people." I spoke about the challenges and triumphs that had shaped the book, emphasizing the importance of overcoming adversity and finding hope in difficult times. The audience listened intently, and the atmosphere was one of genuine engagement and interest. After the speech, I signed copies of the book and interacted with attendees. It was heartening to hear the positive feedback and see people excited about the message of the book. Many expressed their appreciation for the personal and practical insights it offered. Jennifer and I had planned a segment where we discussed the integration of the mentorship program into the charity's work. The conversation was well received, and it highlighted the continued commitment to supporting individuals in their personal journeys. As the evening progressed, the media coverage began to roll in. Interviews, reviews, and articles started to appear, reflecting the book's impact and the positive response from the community. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and it was gratifying to see that the message of resilience and recovery was resonating with readers. The release of Rising from the Ashes marked a new chapter in my life. It symbolized the culmination of a challenging period and the beginning of a new phase focused on making a difference and contributing to the well-being of others. In the days following the release, I continued to receive messages from readers who had been touched by the book. Their stories of personal growth and recovery were a powerful reminder of the impact that sharing experiences and offering support can have. Jennifer and I continued our work on the charity project and the mentorship program. The book's success had provided a platform for raising awareness and furthering our mission. We used the momentum to expand our outreach and engage with new partners and supporters. The book launch had been a significant milestone, but it was also a reminder that the journey was ongoing. There was still much work to be done, and the commitment to helping others remained at the forefront of our efforts. As I reflected on the success of the book and the positive changes it had inspired, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The challenges of the past had led to new opportunities and a renewed sense of purpose. The journey had been transformative, and the future held promise and possibility. With the book's release behind me and the charity project thriving, I was ready to embrace the next chapter of my life. The experiences and lessons learned had shaped my path, and I was determined to continue making a positive impact and contributing to the well-being of others. The story of my life was unfolding with new opportunities and a sense of purpose. The journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of resilience. As I looked ahead, I was excited to see where the path would lead and how the next chapter of my life would unfold. The success of Rising from the Ashes and the continued growth of the charity project had brought a sense of stability and purpose. I was deeply immersed in my work, and life had started to feel normal again, until an unexpected twist threatened to unravel the progress I had made. It began with a message from an anonymous source. I was in my office, reviewing feedback on the book and planning the next steps for the charity project when I noticed a new email notification. The message was brief but alarming. The truth about Jennifer's betrayal goes beyond what you've written. Check the attached file. My heart raced as I clicked on the attachment. It was a series of documents and photos that seemed to detail interactions between Jennifer and Chris, our former literary agent. The images and notes suggested a deeper, more intricate involvement than I had previously known. There were dates and details that painted a picture of an ongoing affair, with revelations that extended beyond the initial scandal. The documents were accompanied by a note: "This is just the beginning. If you want to know the full story, you'll need to dig deeper. There are more files and connections to uncover." Conflicted and anxious, I knew I had to confront this new development head-on. I immediately reached out to Jennifer, requesting an urgent meeting. Her reaction when she saw the documents was a mixture of shock and distress. "Mark, I swear, I had no idea about any of this," Jennifer said, her voice trembling. "I thought the affair with Chris was over, but this is beyond anything I could have imagined." Jennifer's reaction seemed genuine, and it was clear that she was as caught off guard by the new revelations as I was. We both realized that the situation was more complicated than we had initially believed. Despite our past conflicts, I felt a pang of empathy for her, knowing that she was struggling to come to terms with the extent of the betrayal. We decided to work together to uncover the truth behind the new revelations. Jennifer agreed to assist in investigating the source of the documents and to address any further discrepancies. It was a challenging decision, but it was essential to understand the full scope of the situation to move forward. Jennifer and I began by contacting the individuals mentioned in the documents and revisiting the timeline of events. We sought to verify the authenticity of the information and to uncover any additional connections. The process was painstaking and involved combing through old communications, interviewing people involved, and cross-referencing details. As we delved deeper, it became clear that there were more layers to the story. The documents revealed a network of deceit that extended beyond Jennifer and Chris, involving others who had been indirectly connected to the affair. The complexity of the situation was overwhelming, but it was crucial to uncover the truth for both our peace of mind and the integrity of our work. One evening, as Jennifer and I were reviewing the final set of documents, we made a breakthrough. We discovered evidence that implicated a key figure from the literary world who had been manipulating situations for personal gain. This revelation shed new light on the extent of the deceit and the potential motives behind it. Jennifer was visibly shaken by the discovery. "I never realized how deep this went," she said. "It's one thing to face personal betrayal, but this is on a whole different level." Despite the emotional toll, we knew we had to take action. We worked with legal advisors and law enforcement to address the situation and protect our reputations. The process involved careful handling of sensitive information and ensuring that any actions taken were legally sound. The investigation culminated in a public statement where we addressed the new revelations and clarified the steps we had taken to resolve the issues. We acknowledged the complexity of the situation and emphasized our commitment to transparency and integrity. The response from the public and media was mixed. Some were sympathetic to our predicament, while others scrutinized the new developments. The situation was a reminder of the challenges of navigating public perception and the importance of maintaining credibility. Despite the turmoil, Jennifer and I continued our work on the charity project and the mentorship program. The unexpected revelations had tested our resolve, but they had also reinforced our commitment to making a positive impact. We remained focused on our mission and worked to rebuild trust with our supporters and partners. As I reflected on the events, I recognized that the journey had been fraught with challenges and unexpected turns. The revelations had added a new dimension to the story, but they had also highlighted the importance of perseverance and integrity. The story of my life had evolved through adversity and discovery. Each chapter had contributed to a broader narrative of resilience and growth. As I looked ahead, I was determined to continue moving forward with a sense of purpose and a commitment to making a difference. The road ahead was uncertain, but it was filled with possibilities. The challenges of the past had shaped my path, and the lessons learned had strengthened my resolve. With each step forward, I was building a future that embraced hope, integrity, and the potential for positive change. After the storm of revelations and the public fallout, I found a new rhythm in my life. The chaos had subsided, leaving behind a sense of cautious calm. The mentorship program continued to thrive, and the charity project was making a tangible difference in the community. Despite the upheaval, there was a renewed focus on positive outcomes and forward momentum. One afternoon, as I was preparing for a presentation on the charity's impact, I received a phone call from an unexpected source, Chris, our former literary agent. His voice on the other end was calm, almost apologetic. "Mark," Chris began, "I hope you're doing well. I wanted to reach out and clear the air about everything that's happened. There are things that need to be addressed, and I think it's important for you to hear my side of the story." I was taken aback. My initial reaction was one of skepticism. After everything that had transpired, I wasn't sure what to expect from Chris. However, the sincerity in his tone made me consider giving him a chance to explain. "All right, Chris," I replied. "Let's meet and discuss this. I'm open to hearing what you have to say." We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe, a neutral setting where we could talk without distractions. When Chris arrived, he looked worn but composed. We ordered coffee and settled into a corner booth, ready for what promised to be a difficult conversation. "I want to start by saying that I'm sorry for the role I played in all of this," Chris said, his voice steady. "The affair with Jennifer was a mistake, and I regret the pain it caused. But there are aspects of the situation that you might not fully understand." Chris proceeded to explain that his involvement in the affair was not solely driven by personal motives. He revealed that he had been under pressure from various sources, including business partners who had exploited the situation for their gain. The web of deceit was more complicated than I had initially realized. "The situation was manipulated by others," Chris admitted. "I was caught in the middle, and I didn't handle things as well as I should have. I want to make amends, and I'm willing to cooperate to clear up any misunderstandings." While Chris's explanations provided some context, they did not fully absolve him of responsibility. However, his willingness to address the situation and offer cooperation was a step toward resolving lingering issues. I decided to proceed cautiously, keeping the focus on our shared goal of moving forward. "I appreciate your honesty, Chris," I said. "Moving forward, it's important to focus on rebuilding and ensuring that such issues don't arise again. I'm willing to work towards that." Our meeting concluded on a note of tentative agreement. Chris agreed to provide any additional information that might help clarify the situation and to support efforts to rectify any remaining concerns. In the weeks that followed, Jennifer and I continued to manage the charity project and mentorship program with renewed dedication. We focused on enhancing our outreach, increasing transparency, and strengthening partnerships. The public's response to our efforts began to shift positively as we demonstrated our commitment to making a difference. The mentorship program flourished, with numerous success stories emerging from the initiative. Mentors and mentees shared their experiences, highlighting the transformative impact of the support they received. The positive feedback reinforced the value of our work and provided a much-needed boost to our morale. Jennifer and I also took steps to ensure that our personal and professional lives remained distinct. We maintained a professional working relationship, focusing on the charity's mission and the positive contributions we could make. The challenges of the past had taught us valuable lessons about resilience and the importance of staying true to our values. As I looked back on the tumultuous journey, I recognized the growth and transformation that had occurred. The experiences had shaped my perspective and deepened my understanding of the complexities of human relationships and the importance of integrity. The story of my life had been marked by unexpected turns, but it had also been characterized by growth and renewal. The lessons learned and the progress made were a testament to the power of perseverance and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. With the charity project thriving and the mentorship program making a meaningful impact, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The future was filled with possibilities, and I was determined to continue moving forward with optimism and a commitment to making a positive difference. As I embraced the next chapter of my life, I carried with me the lessons of the past and the hope for a brighter future. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the potential for positive change. As the new year began, I felt a sense of renewal and optimism. The charity project was making a significant impact, and the mentorship program was flourishing. The challenges of the past had led to important growth, and now it was time to embrace a fresh start and focus on new opportunities. One crisp January morning, I sat at my desk, reviewing plans for the upcoming year. The charity's success had inspired me to consider new initiatives and expand our reach. I was determined to build on the momentum we had gained and to explore new ways to make a difference. My phone buzzed with a notification, a message from Tom, the entrepreneur who had been instrumental in launching the mentorship program. He wanted to discuss a new project idea that he believed could further enhance our efforts. Intrigued, I agreed to meet with him. We met at a local cafe, and Tom wasted no time getting to the point. "Mark, I've been thinking about ways we can leverage technology to extend our reach and support more individuals. I have an idea for a digital platform that could provide online mentorship and resources to people around the world." The idea was exciting. A digital platform could significantly expand our ability to connect with individuals in need, providing access to mentorship and support regardless of geographic location. Tom's vision was to create an online space where mentors and mentees could interact, share resources, and participate in virtual workshops and seminars. "This platform could be a game changer," Tom said. "It would allow us to offer personalized support and connect people with experts in various fields, all from the convenience of their own homes." We spent the next few hours brainstorming and developing the concept. The platform would feature interactive elements, including video calls, discussion forums, and resource libraries. It would also include a system for matching mentors with mentees based on their specific needs and goals. As we worked through the details, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The digital platform aligned perfectly with our mission and had the potential to reach a global audience. We decided to move forward with the project, setting a timeline for development and outlining key milestones. In the weeks that followed, Tom and I worked closely with a team of developers and designers to bring the platform to life. We conducted user research to ensure that the platform would meet the needs of our target audience and designed features that would enhance the user experience. Jennifer, who had been a key collaborator on the charity project, was supportive of the new initiative. She recognized the potential of the digital platform to amplify our impact and was eager to contribute her expertise. Together, we worked on integrating the platform with our existing programs and ensuring that it aligned with our mission. As the platform neared its launch, we began to promote it through various channels, including social media, newsletters, and community events. The response was enthusiastic, and many people expressed their excitement about the opportunity to access online mentorship and resources. The launch of the digital platform was a major milestone. We held a virtual event to introduce the platform to the public, featuring demonstrations of its features and testimonials from early users. The event was well received, and the platform quickly gained traction among individuals seeking support and guidance. The digital platform proved to be a valuable addition to our efforts. It provided a flexible and accessible way for people to connect with mentors and access resources, regardless of their location. The platform's success further validated our commitment to innovation and our dedication to making a positive impact. As I reflected on the journey, I was struck by the transformation that had occurred. The challenges and setbacks had led to new opportunities and growth. The mentorship program, the charity project, and the digital platform were all part of a larger narrative of resilience and positive change. Looking ahead, I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. The future held promise, and there were many possibilities for continued growth and impact. The experiences of the past had shaped my perspective and reinforced the importance of perseverance and innovation. With the digital platform up and running and the charity project continuing to thrive, I was ready to embrace the new opportunities that lay ahead. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the potential for positive change. As I embarked on this new chapter, I carried with me the lessons learned and the hope for a brighter future. The story of my life was one of transformation and renewal, and I was excited to see where the path would lead. The road ahead was filled with possibilities, and I was determined to continue making a difference and contributing to the well-being of others. As the digital platform gained traction, it became clear that the new initiative was reshaping our approach to mentorship and support. The platform's success brought a renewed sense of purpose and excitement, but it also led to unforeseen challenges and opportunities that we had to navigate carefully. One afternoon, while reviewing user feedback and platform analytics, I received an unexpected phone call from a well-known media personality, Alex Carter. Alex was interested in featuring our digital platform in his popular talk show, which was known for spotlighting impactful social projects. "Mark, I've been following your work with the charity and the new digital platform," Alex said. "I'd love to have you on the show to discuss the platform and its impact. It could be a great opportunity to reach a wider audience." The offer was both exciting and nerve-wracking. A feature on Alex's show could significantly boost the platform's visibility and bring more attention to our efforts. However, it also meant that we would need to prepare thoroughly to ensure that we presented ourselves in the best possible light. Jennifer and I agreed to the appearance and began preparing for the interview. We spent time rehearsing our talking points, refining our message, and anticipating potential questions. We wanted to highlight the platform's benefits and the positive impact it was making, while also addressing any concerns or criticisms. The day of the interview arrived, and the studio was buzzing with activity. Alex greeted us warmly and took us to the green room, where we reviewed our notes one last time. The atmosphere was a mix of excitement and tension as we prepared for the live broadcast. When it was time for the interview, we took our seats on the stage. The studio audience and viewers at home were ready to hear about our digital platform and its impact. Alex introduced us and began the conversation, asking insightful questions about the platform's development, features, and success stories. Jennifer and I took turns answering questions, sharing our experiences, and discussing the challenges we had faced. We spoke about the platform's mission, its reach, and the positive feedback we had received from users. Alex's questions were probing but fair, and we did our best to address them with clarity and honesty. During the interview, Alex asked about the initial challenges we encountered and how we overcame them. This question provided an opportunity to discuss the difficulties we had faced, including technical issues, user feedback, and the need to adapt our approach. We highlighted our commitment to continuous improvement and our focus on delivering value to users. It was a long, grueling day at the office, and the only thing I could think about was collapsing into my bed. As I approached the house, the heavy weight of exhaustion pressed down on me. The quiet of the night was soothing, and I hoped for a few hours of peace before hitting the hay. Little did I know that tonight would shatter any semblance of normalcy I had left. I fumbled with my keys, eager to get inside and retreat to my sanctuary. The front door creaked open, and I was immediately struck by an unusual noise coming from the study. It wasn't just the sound of a chair scraping against the floor or the rustle of paper. It was something more, a faint, rhythmic noise that seemed oddly intimate. My heart raced, but I tried to remain calm. I tiptoed down the hallway, every step heavier with dread. The study door was slightly ajar, a sliver of light spilling into the dark corridor. I hesitated for a moment, but curiosity, combined with a gnawing sense of foreboding, propelled me forward. I pushed the door open just a crack, and what I saw made my blood run cold. There, tangled together in a way that was both grotesque and intimate, were Jennifer and Chris. My wife, the woman I had trusted implicitly, was in bed with our literary agent. The scene before me was beyond betrayal. It was a brutal assault on everything I believed to be true. Jennifer's shocked gasp pierced through the haze of my disbelief, her eyes wide as they met mine. Chris, caught in the act, scrambled to cover himself, his face a mix of guilt and embarrassment. My mind raced, trying to process the betrayal, the broken trust, and the shattered illusion of our perfect life. I stood there, frozen, unable to speak. The realization that the woman I had loved and built a life with was capable of such deception was overwhelming. It wasn't just a moment of infidelity, it was a crushing blow to my very core. Jennifer's voice, trembling and full of panic, tried to form words, but I was already turning away. I needed space, needed to think, to plan. My heart was pounding in my chest as I walked back out into the cool night air. The weight of the betrayal was unbearable, and all I could think about was how to deal with this seismic shift in my life. As I sat in the car, the reality of the situation began to crystallize. I needed a plan, a way to make this betrayal known and to reclaim some sense of justice. It wasn't enough to confront Jennifer and Chris. I needed something more impactful, something that would make sure this wasn't just a fleeting moment of anger. I had to make them face the consequences of their actions in a way that would be impossible to ignore. I decided to use our latest book, a project we'd poured our hearts into. Jennifer and I had always been proud of our work, and it was about to become the vehicle for my revenge. If I could turn the final chapter into a mirror reflecting the true events, it would not only expose Jennifer's betrayal but also bring her world crashing down in the most public and humiliating way possible. The idea took shape quickly in my mind. It was devious, yes, but it seemed fitting for the situation. As I drove away from the house, I knew that the path I was about to take would be fraught with challenges, but I also felt a grim sense of satisfaction. The power to shape the narrative was now in my hands, and I intended to use it to ensure that Jennifer and Chris would never forget the consequences of their actions. The weeks following that fateful night felt like they stretched into eternity. The initial shock had subsided, but the anger and sense of betrayal only grew stronger. My mind was a whirl of emotions and thoughts, all centered on one goal: revenge. The first step was to gain control over the situation, and the most effective way to do that was through our latest book. It had been months in the making, and Jennifer and I had been putting our heart and soul into it. The idea of using it as a tool for revenge was both thrilling and terrifying, but it felt like the perfect method to make my point. I spent countless hours alone in my study, staring at the manuscript. The words and sentences seemed to blur together as I plotted how to insert the truth into the final chapter. The book had been carefully crafted to offer readers an idealized view of relationships, but now, it was going to serve a very different purpose. First, I had to identify the key points in the final chapter where the narrative could be subtly altered to reflect reality. The chapter was meant to be a powerful conclusion to our series, and it was crucial that any changes blended seamlessly with the existing content. I wanted it to be shocking yet believable, so there could be no doubt about the authenticity of the events described. I started rewriting the chapter, carefully weaving in elements that would expose Jennifer's betrayal. I described a fictional character's downfall in a way that mirrored the betrayal I had witnessed. The details were precise, intentionally so, to ensure that the readers would make the connection. I included the emotional turmoil, the betrayal's impact, and the subsequent fallout, all wrapped up in a narrative that seemed almost too real to be fiction. Throughout the process, I kept my work a closely guarded secret. Jennifer was blissfully unaware of my plan, engrossed in promoting the book and preparing for its release. She continued to present a facade of normalcy, oblivious to the storm brewing behind the scenes. I used her preoccupation to my advantage, carefully maneuvering around her, ensuring that my changes would go unnoticed. Next came the task of ensuring the manuscript was altered without raising any suspicion. I approached our editor, subtly guiding conversations to make sure that the final version of the manuscript would reflect my revisions. I had to be meticulous in my approach to avoid any red flags. The editor had no idea of my true intentions. I presented my changes as minor tweaks to enhance the story's impact. The night before the manuscript was due to go to print, I reviewed the final draft. It was a chilling experience, seeing my plan come to fruition. The last chapter, once a symbol of our joint effort, was now a vessel for my vengeance. I imagined the look on Jennifer's face when she would first read the words I had so carefully crafted. The thought gave me a twisted sense of satisfaction. With the manuscript finalized and sent off to print, there was no turning back. The book was set to be published in a matter of weeks. I had to prepare for the fallout, knowing that the public's reaction would be intense and potentially unforgiving. I had already started making plans to handle the inevitable media frenzy and public scrutiny. In the quiet moments before the book's release, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had led me to this point. What started as a personal betrayal had become a grander scheme, a way to expose the truth and reclaim control over my life. The next few weeks would be crucial, and I needed to stay focused and prepared for the storm that was about to hit. As I closed my laptop and looked out the window at the darkening sky, I couldn't help but feel a mix of apprehension and anticipation. The book's release was only the beginning of this twisted chapter in our lives. The real challenge lay ahead, and I was ready to face it head on. The day of the book's release dawned with a surprising sense of calm. The chaos and turmoil of the past few weeks had led to this pivotal moment, and now all I could do was wait for the world to react. Jennifer was out early, attending promotional events and interviews, eager to champion our latest work. I had ensured she was completely absorbed in the public side of our book launch, leaving me free to execute the final steps of my plan. The book hit the shelves with the usual fanfare. The media buzzed with excitement, and reviews began to pour in. Jennifer's confidence was palpable. She was sure this book would cement our legacy as relationship experts. Little did she know, the final chapter contained a revelation that would undermine everything we had built. I watched the book's progress from behind the scenes, tracking sales figures and media coverage. The initial reviews were glowing, as expected. Then, as the day wore on, the first stirrings of controversy began to surface. It started with an anonymous online review that praised the book's emotional depth and hinted at a shocking twist in the final chapter. Jennifer's excitement was evident when she returned home that evening, her face flushed with exhilaration. She couldn't wait to share the success with me. As she settled into the living room, I could see the satisfaction in her eyes. She was about to get a rude awakening. The first major crack in her world came late that night. The phone rang, and I answered to a flurry of questions from a journalist. They wanted a comment on the scandalous content of our book. I played dumb, feigning ignorance while the journalists' questions hinted at a brewing storm. I knew that the real impact was about to hit. By the next morning, the controversy had exploded. Headlines screamed about the shocking revelations in our book. Social media erupted with comments and speculation. People were dissecting the final chapter and connecting the dots to Jennifer and Chris. The details I had included were being scrutinized and discussed with a fervor that left no room for doubt. Jennifer was oblivious at first, thinking it was just the typical reaction to a provocative book. It wasn't until the first news segment aired, featuring a detailed breakdown of the chapter and its parallels to real-life events, that she began to grasp the magnitude of the situation. Her face went pale as she watched the television, her initial disbelief turning into horror. The media storm grew more intense by the hour. Reporters camped out at our home, desperate for a statement or a photo. Jennifer's phone was flooded with messages, and the once celebrated author now found herself at the center of a scandal. Her world was unraveling, and the public's reaction was unforgiving. I remained in the background, letting the storm rage on. Watching Jennifer's distress was both painful and satisfying. The public's support was on my side, with many expressing their sympathies and applauding the courage it took to reveal the truth. My decision to use the book as a vehicle for revenge had worked better than I could have imagined. Jennifer's career began to crumble under the weight of the scandal. Book signings were canceled, interviews were postponed, and her reputation as a trusted relationship expert was shattered. The damage was extensive, and it was clear that she would face long-lasting consequences. As the days passed, I noticed a shift in the public's perception of me. I went from being a betrayed husband to a sympathetic figure who had been wronged and had taken drastic measures to expose the truth. The backlash against Jennifer was fierce. And while I felt a pang of regret for the way things had turned out, I couldn't deny the satisfaction of seeing her face the consequences of her actions. In the quiet moments of reflection, I considered the implications of what I had done. The plan had succeeded beyond my expectations, but the reality of Jennifer's pain and the public's reaction made me question the morality of my actions. Yet, as I looked at the chaos unfolding, I knew that this was the price of betrayal, and I had done what I felt was necessary to reclaim control over my life and my narrative. The book had been my weapon, and now it was a symbol of a battle won. Jennifer's world was in disarray, and I was left to navigate the aftermath, knowing that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and difficult decisions. The story was far from over, and I braced myself for whatever came next. The aftermath of the book's release hit hard and fast. What had begun as a calculated plan for revenge had morphed into a full-scale media frenzy. Jennifer's life, once characterized by public admiration and professional success, was now a chaotic whirlwind of scandal and disgrace. The first few days were a blur of media coverage and public outrage. The scandal dominated news cycles, with every major outlet running stories about the book's explosive final chapter. Jennifer's face was plastered across newspapers and TV screens, the story of her betrayal being dissected and analyzed in every possible detail. Her once loyal fans were turning against her, their support evaporating as the truth became public. Jennifer's attempts to defend herself only made things worse. Her statements seemed desperate and unconvincing, further fueling the public's ire. The more she tried to explain away the allegations, the more the media and public scrutiny intensified. Her reputation as a relationship expert was irreparably damaged, and every new development only added to the mess. Amidst the chaos, I maintained a careful distance. I was approached by journalists seeking my side of the story, but I declined interviews, preferring to let the fallout unfold without my direct involvement. Instead, I watched from afar, letting the media and public opinion do the heavy lifting of exposing Jennifer's betrayal. In the quiet moments when the media frenzy subsided and I was left alone with my thoughts, the weight of my actions settled in. I had achieved my goal of exposing Jennifer's infidelity, but the cost was significant. The public support I had gained came with a price, and the path to redemption was not as clear-cut as I had imagined. The book, despite its scandalous content, was a commercial success. Sales soared, and it became a bestseller, further cementing its place in the spotlight. The financial gain was substantial, but it felt hollow in the face of the personal and emotional turmoil that had accompanied it. I found myself questioning whether the satisfaction of revenge was worth the collateral damage. Jennifer's career continued to deteriorate. She lost book deals, speaking engagements, and public trust. Her social media profiles were filled with vitriolic comments and mocking memes. She became a cautionary tale in the world of celebrity, her name synonymous with betrayal and scandal. Chris, too, faced the fallout. His role as Jennifer's lover had made him a target for public outrage. His professional life was in tatters, and he retreated from the public eye, hoping to escape the backlash. The consequences of his actions were no less severe, and he was left to deal with the repercussions of the scandal he had been part of. As the days turned into weeks, Jennifer reached out to me in private. Seeking a resolution, her attempts to communicate were desperate and filled with regret. She wanted to discuss how we could move forward, how we could address the damage caused by the book. I listened but remained noncommittal. My focus was on managing the situation and ensuring that the story remained in the public eye. In the midst of the fallout, I began to reassess my own position. The public sympathy I had garnered was fleeting, and the attention was shifting away from me and back to Jennifer's disintegrating career. I was left with a sense of ambiguity about what had been achieved. The lines between justice and revenge had blurred, and the emotional toll of the entire ordeal was beginning to weigh heavily on me. Jennifer's crisis became a media spectacle, and I found myself grappling with the ethical implications of my actions. The revenge that had seemed so satisfying in the planning stages now felt less definitive. The story of betrayal had been told, but the resolution was far from satisfying. In the quiet moments of reflection, I recognized the complexity of the situation. Revenge had come at a cost, and the price was not just Jennifer's career but also my own sense of peace. The public narrative had shifted, and the story of our lives was now an ongoing saga, filled with unexpected twists and unresolved issues. As the scandal continued to dominate headlines, Jennifer's attempts to salvage her career became increasingly desperate. The once proud relationship expert was now a shadow of her former self. Grappling with the fallout of her actions and the relentless scrutiny of the public eye, Jennifer's first move was to try and rebuild her image through a series of public apologies. She appeared on talk shows, wrote heartfelt letters to her fans, and even attempted to launch a new charity initiative aimed at restoring trust. But each of these efforts was met with skepticism and mockery. The public was unforgiving, and every move she made seemed to dig her deeper into the hole she was in. Despite her efforts, Jennifer's personal and professional life continued to deteriorate. The media coverage became increasingly sensationalist, with tabloid headlines focusing on every misstep and scandalous detail. The book that had once been a symbol of our shared success was now a weapon turned against her, a reminder of her betrayal that she could not escape. In contrast, my position began to shift. The initial wave of public support was starting to wane as the story grew stale. The media's fascination with Jennifer's downfall was overshadowing the personal narrative of betrayal that had been the core of my public persona. I found myself increasingly sidelined as the focus shifted back to Jennifer and her ongoing struggle. One evening, as I was going through the latest media reports, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Jennifer, requesting a face-to-face meeting. She was contrite and emotional, her voice breaking as she pleaded for a chance to discuss the situation privately. Despite my reservations, I agreed to meet her, intrigued by the possibility of what she might want to say. The meeting took place in a quiet cafe, far from the glare of the media. Jennifer arrived looking exhausted and defeated, her once confident demeanor replaced by a weary resignation. She sat across from me, her eyes filled with a mix of anger and sorrow. "Mark," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know I've made a mess of everything, and I don't know if there's any way to fix it. I just want to explain." "Explain?" I interrupted, my tone colder than I intended. "What is there to explain? The book did exactly what I wanted it to do." Jennifer looked down, her hands trembling as she fidgeted with a napkin. "I know. And I understand why you did it. But please, I need you to know that I'm not the person I was when this all started. I've made terrible mistakes, but I'm trying to make amends." Her words felt hollow. I had spent weeks watching her crumble under the weight of her own actions, and now her attempts at contrition seemed almost laughable. I was not interested in salvaging her reputation. I had already achieved what I set out to do. "I don't know what you expect from me," I said, leaning back in my chair. "The damage is done. The book is out there, and it's changed everything." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. "I don't expect you to fix anything. I just needed to tell you that I'm sorry. For everything." I could see the genuine remorse in her eyes, but it was too late. The impact of her betrayal and the subsequent fallout had left a permanent scar. Her apology did little to change the reality of the situation. As we parted ways, I felt a mix of emotions: satisfaction from the success of my plan, but also an unsettling sense of ambiguity. The personal vendetta had been achieved, but the fallout had left both our lives in shambles. Back home, I found myself reflecting on the twisted path that had led us here. The success of the book and the public's reaction were fleeting victories in a larger narrative of personal loss and betrayal. I had sought revenge and achieved it, but the cost had been high. Jennifer's career was in ruins, and my own sense of closure was elusive. The public's fascination with the scandal had moved on, leaving me with the aftermath of a situation that had escalated beyond my control. I was left to navigate the consequences of my actions, grappling with the complex interplay of justice and revenge. As I prepared for the next phase of this chaotic journey, I realized that the story was far from over. The fallout of our lives would continue to unfold, and I would need to find a way to move forward amidst the wreckage of a once shared dream. Jennifer's attempts to rebuild her life seemed increasingly futile. The public had moved on to newer scandals, but the damage to her career and reputation was lasting. I, on the other hand, found myself grappling with a new set of challenges as the initial wave of support and media attention began to wane. The book's success was undeniable, but it had brought with it a complex mix of emotions and complications. While the financial gain was substantial, it felt hollow amidst the personal turmoil that continued to swirl around me. Jennifer's fallout had shifted the public's interest away from me, and I was left to navigate the quieter, more introspective aftermath of the scandal. Jennifer's attempts to reach out continued, though less frequent and more subdued. She sent occasional messages, her tone always apologetic and seeking some form of resolution or understanding. I responded minimally, not out of cruelty but from a sense of detachment. The public spectacle had shifted, and I was more focused on managing my own life and the evolving circumstances. As the media frenzy died down, I found myself reassessing my priorities. The revenge that had seemed so satisfying now felt less definitive. The public support I had received was fleeting, and the personal satisfaction of exposing Jennifer's betrayal was overshadowed by the reality of living with the consequences. My own life had become a series of routines and responsibilities, punctuated by the occasional reminder of the scandal that had so recently consumed us. One evening, I received an invitation to a literary event. It was a chance to reconnect with the industry and discuss the impact of the book. Despite my reservations, I decided to attend. I needed to step back into the world I had once been a part of, to see how the aftermath had shaped the broader narrative. At the event, the atmosphere was tense. Conversations buzzed with the latest news and gossip, and I could sense the undercurrent of curiosity about the scandal that had dominated headlines. The attendees, once enthusiastic supporters of Jennifer and me, now viewed us with a mix of curiosity and caution. During the event, I was approached by a few industry insiders who wanted to discuss the book and its impact. Their interest was genuine, but there was also a palpable sense of caution, as if they were wary of delving too deeply into the personal details of the scandal. I spoke with them, but the conversations often felt superficial, lacking the depth and connection that once characterized my professional interactions. The evening ended with a sense of closure but also with a lingering unease. I had re-entered the literary world but found it altered by the events that had transpired. The connections I once had seemed strained, and the future of my career was uncertain. Back at home, I continued to reflect on the events and their impact on my life. The satisfaction of revenge was overshadowed by the realization that I had lost more than I had gained. The personal cost of the scandal was significant, and the path forward was unclear. Jennifer's situation remained a somber reminder of the consequences of our actions. Her career was in tatters, and her personal life was under intense scrutiny. Despite my initial feelings of vindication, I couldn't escape the sense of loss that came with the fallout. In the weeks that followed, I began to focus on rebuilding my own life. I sought out new projects and opportunities, hoping to move past the scandal and find a new direction. The process was slow and fraught with challenges, but I was determined to find a way forward. Jennifer's journey was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragile nature of success and the harsh reality of personal betrayal. As I navigated the aftermath of our shared history, I came to terms with the complexity of the situation. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but I was committed to moving forward, rebuilding my life, and finding a way to make sense of the tumultuous path that had brought us to this point. The story of our lives was far from over, and the next chapters would be written with a mix of reflection, resolution, and the pursuit of a new beginning. As time wore on, the initial shockwaves of the scandal began to settle into a new normal. Jennifer's career had hit rock bottom, and my own path had become a series of cautious steps forward. The vibrant public life we once led was now a distant memory, replaced by a more subdued existence fraught with personal and professional recalibration. The turning point came when I received an unexpected phone call from an old friend, Brian. He was a journalist and had covered our earlier successes with enthusiasm. Brian wanted to catch up and discuss the ongoing effects of the scandal. Reluctantly, I agreed. It had been a while since I'd spoken with someone from my past, and I was curious about what he wanted to discuss. Our meeting took place at a quiet bar where we used to hang out. Brian arrived with a stack of notes and a look of genuine concern on his face. As we settled into a booth, he began speaking in a tone that suggested he had more on his mind than just a casual catch-up. "Mark, I've been following the fallout from the book and everything that's happened since. It's been quite a ride for you. I know this must be a difficult time, but there's a lot more to the story that hasn't been covered." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" Brian leaned forward, his expression serious. "The public's reaction has been intense, but it's also shifted. There are whispers and rumors about how the scandal has affected not just Jennifer but also you, about the emotional and personal toll. People are starting to question the morality behind the way you handled things. Some are even suggesting that there might be a darker side to your motives." His words struck a chord. I had been so focused on the immediate aftermath of the scandal and its impact on Jennifer that I hadn't fully considered how my actions were being perceived in the long term. The idea that there might be a darker side to my motives made me uncomfortable, but it also made me reflect on the broader implications of what had happened. Brian continued, "I'm working on a piece that will look at the human side of this story. Beyond the headlines, it's about the real impact of betrayal, the complexities of revenge, and how it all fits into the bigger picture of personal integrity and public perception." I hesitated, feeling a mix of defensiveness and curiosity. And what's in it for me? Why should I participate? Because, Brian said, this is a chance to tell your side of the story in a way that might offer some perspective and maybe even redemption. You have the opportunity to address some of the questions people are asking and to shape the narrative in a way that's authentic to your experience. Quote. The offer was tempting. I had been grappling with the fallout and the ongoing scrutiny, and Brian's proposition seemed like an opportunity to regain some control over the narrative. It wasn't just about clearing my name, it was about coming to terms with what had happened and finding a way to move forward. After some consideration, I agreed to participate in the piece. Brian and I set up a series of interviews where I could share my thoughts and feelings about the scandal, the betrayal, and the impact it had on my life. The process was cathartic, allowing me to articulate the complex emotions and motivations behind my actions. The interviews were both challenging and revealing. I spoke candidly about the pain of betrayal, the satisfaction and regrets of revenge, and the struggle to find a new direction in the wake of the scandal. Brian's questions were probing, but they gave me a chance to reflect on my own experiences and how they fit into the larger narrative. As the piece neared completion, I felt a sense of uneasy anticipation. The public's reaction to my involvement in the scandal was unpredictable, and the prospect of further scrutiny was daunting. However, the process had helped me gain some clarity and perspective. The published piece was a deep dive into the human dimensions of the scandal. It explored the personal and emotional impacts, the moral dilemmas of revenge, and the complexities of navigating public and private life after such a dramatic upheaval. The response was mixed. Some appreciated the insight and honesty, while others criticized it as an attempt to justify my actions. Jennifer, meanwhile, continued her struggle to regain some semblance of normalcy. Her attempts to rebuild her career were met with limited success, and her public appearances were often met with skepticism and criticism. Her once prominent position in the industry was now a cautionary tale, and her efforts to move forward seemed overshadowed by the past. As for me, the process of sharing my side of the story provided some measure of relief but also left me with lingering questions about the future. The public perception had shifted once again, and the complexities of the situation remained unresolved. The path ahead was uncertain, but I was determined to move forward, to rebuild my life, and to navigate the new reality that had emerged from the chaos. The story of our lives was evolving, and each new chapter was a testament to the challenges and changes that had defined our journey. The impact of the scandal continued to shape our experiences, but with each passing day, we each sought to find a way to move on, to make sense of the past, and to build a new future from the remnants of what once was. As the dust from the scandal began to settle, I found myself grappling with a profound sense of uncertainty and a desire to reclaim some semblance of normalcy. The media frenzy had subsided, and the public's attention had shifted to newer stories, but the impact of the events continued to echo through my life. In the weeks following the publication of Brian's piece, I took stock of my situation. The initial relief of clearing the air had faded, leaving me with the task of figuring out what came next. The book had brought financial gain, but it had also left emotional scars and strained relationships. The future seemed both daunting and full of potential, but the way forward was far from clear. One afternoon, while sorting through old papers and correspondence, I came across a letter from an old friend, Jessica. We had lost touch over the years, but her letter was a warm reminder of simpler times. Jessica had heard about the scandal and reached out to offer her support. Her words were kind and encouraging, and she suggested that we reconnect. It was an invitation to rediscover a part of my life that had been overshadowed by recent events. I decided to take her up on the offer. We arranged to meet at a cafe, a neutral setting where we could catch up and reminisce. Jessica arrived with a bright smile, and the familiarity of her presence was comforting. As we sat down, she began to speak with genuine curiosity about my experiences and how I was coping with the aftermath of everything that had happened. "Mark, it's good to see you," she said, her tone warm and empathetic. "I've been following the news, and I can only imagine how difficult this must have been for you. How are you holding up?" Her concern was genuine, and it was a welcome change from the scrutinizing eyes of the media. I took a deep breath and began to recount my journey, the highs, the lows, and the lessons learned. Jessica listened attentively, her responses thoughtful and supportive. "You've been through so much," she said when I finished. "It sounds like you've handled it with a lot of strength, but I can see how exhausting it must have been." Have you thought about what you want to do next? Her question was both simple and profound. It forced me to confront the reality of my situation and consider the future. I had been so focused on managing the immediate aftermath that I hadn't given much thought to my long-term goals. I've been trying to figure that out, I admitted. The book was a big step, but I'm not sure where to go from here. I've been thinking about starting something new, something that could help me move past all of this and create a positive impact. Jessica nodded, her expression encouraging. That sounds like a great idea. Sometimes, a new project can provide a fresh perspective and a sense of purpose. What are you considering? I pondered for a moment before responding. I've been toying with the idea of writing a new book, one that focuses on personal growth and recovery. It would be a departure from the scandal and more about finding a way to move forward. Quote. Jessica's eyes lit up. I think that's a wonderful idea. It's a way to channel your experiences into something meaningful and help others who might be going through similar challenges. Plus, it could be a great way to re-establish your presence in a positive light. Her words were encouraging, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I left the cafe with a clearer vision of what I wanted to do next. The idea of writing a book about personal growth and recovery seemed like a fitting way to turn the page on a tumultuous chapter and embark on a new journey. In the following weeks, I began to outline my new book. It would be a departure from the scandal and focus on resilience, personal transformation, and the lessons learned from navigating difficult times. The process was therapeutic, allowing me to reflect on my own experiences and find a way to share those insights with others. Jennifer, meanwhile, continued her struggle to rebuild her life. I occasionally heard updates through mutual acquaintances, and it was clear that her path to recovery was fraught with challenges. Despite the lingering bitterness, I hoped she would find a way to move forward and rebuild her career. As I delved into writing, I found solace in the creative process. The project was both a personal and professional endeavor, allowing me to channel my experiences into something constructive. It was a chance to reclaim my narrative and contribute something positive to the world. The journey ahead was uncertain, but it was filled with potential. The new book was a beacon of hope, a way to transform the trials of the past into a source of inspiration and growth. Each page written was a step toward healing, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a promise of new beginnings. As I moved forward, I was reminded of the importance of looking beyond the immediate aftermath of the scandal and focusing on the future. The road to recovery was long, but it was also full of possibilities. The story of my life was evolving, and with each new chapter, I was determined to build a future that embraced growth, redemption, and renewal. As I plunged into the writing of my new book, I found myself deeply immersed in the process of reflection. The act of transforming my experiences into words was both cathartic and revealing. I was no longer just a participant in a scandal. I was now a storyteller, attempting to make sense of the chaos and pain I had endured. The new book, tentatively titled Rising from the Ashes, was intended to be a guide to personal growth and recovery. I wanted it to be a beacon of hope for others facing their own struggles, a resource that would offer practical advice and emotional support. Each chapter was designed to address different aspects of resilience, from dealing with betrayal to finding strength in adversity. As I worked on the manuscript, I found myself revisiting the events of the scandal with a new perspective. The anger and bitterness that had fueled my earlier actions were now tempered with a sense of understanding and acceptance. I was beginning to see the larger picture, the way in which the scandal had shaped not only my life but also the lives of those around me. One afternoon, while editing a particularly challenging chapter, I received an email from Jennifer's publicist. The email was a request for a meeting to discuss a potential collaboration on a charity project. The request came as a surprise, and it stirred a mix of emotions within me. On one hand, I was curious about Jennifer's intentions and the possibility of mending some old wounds. On the other hand, I was wary of reopening old grievances. I decided to accept the meeting, if only to gain clarity on the situation. We arranged to meet at a neutral location, a park that offered a peaceful setting away from the intensity of our past interactions. Jennifer arrived looking somewhat tentative but determined. Her demeanor was different from before, more subdued and introspective. As we sat on a park bench, she began speaking with a tone of sincerity that I hadn't heard before. "Mark, I appreciate you agreeing to meet. I know things have been difficult between us, but I wanted to reach out because I've been working on a charity initiative aimed at supporting victims of personal betrayal and helping them rebuild their lives. I thought it might be a way for us to work together on something positive. Her words were a far cry from the defensiveness and regret I had grown accustomed to. Jennifer spoke with genuine conviction, and her proposal seemed to be a sincere attempt to make amends. I listened carefully, weighing her words against the backdrop of our shared history. "I'm glad to see you're trying to channel your experiences into something positive," I said. "But I have to be honest, I'm still processing everything that happened. It's hard to reconcile the past with the present." Jennifer nodded, acknowledging the difficulty of the situation. "I understand. I know that what happened can't be undone, but I want to use my experience to help others. If you're open to it, I'd like to explore how we might collaborate on this project. It could be a way for both of us to contribute something meaningful and perhaps even find some resolution." Her proposal was intriguing. The idea of working together on a charity project was not only an opportunity to give back but also a potential step toward healing and closure. It would be a chance to bridge the gap between our past and present and to use our experiences for a greater good. After some consideration, I agreed to explore the possibility. We discussed potential initiatives and how we could align our efforts to make a positive impact. The conversation was productive, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope that something good might come out of the tumultuous events we had endured. In the weeks that followed, Jennifer and I continued to collaborate on the charity project. It was a challenging but rewarding experience, requiring us to navigate our differences and work together toward a common goal. The project provided a sense of purpose and a chance to contribute to something meaningful. As we worked on the initiative, I also continued to focus on my book. The process of writing and reflecting was helping me find a sense of closure and direction. The chapters were coming together, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose and resolve. As the interview progressed, Alex shifted the conversation to the broader impact of our work. He asked about the long-term vision for the platform and how we planned to sustain and grow it. This was an opportunity to share our aspirations and the plans we had for future development. The interview concluded with a segment where Alex invited viewers to participate in a live Q&A future plans. The engagement from viewers was enthusiastic, and the positive response was encouraging. After the interview, we received a flurry of messages and social media posts praising our work and expressing interest in the platform. The exposure from the show had generated significant buzz, and the platform's user base grew rapidly. While the media appearance was a major milestone, it also highlighted the importance of maintaining momentum and addressing any emerging challenges. We continued to monitor user feedback, make improvements to the platform, and engage with our growing community. In addition to the increased visibility, the interview had opened doors to new partnerships and opportunities. We received offers from organizations interested in collaborating on initiatives related to online mentorship and support. These new connections provided additional resources and support for our work. As I reflected on the turning point brought by the media appearance, I recognized the importance of adaptability and perseverance. The journey had been marked by unexpected twists and opportunities, and each step had contributed to a broader narrative of growth and impact. With the platform thriving and the charity project continuing to make a difference, I felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The story of our work was one of resilience and innovation, and the future held promising possibilities. As we moved forward, I remained focused on our mission and committed to leveraging the opportunities that came our way. The path ahead was filled with potential, and I was excited to continue making a positive impact and contributing to the well-being of others. The turning point had been a catalyst for growth and change, and I was ready to embrace the next chapter with optimism and enthusiasm. The journey had been transformative, and I looked forward to the new opportunities and challenges that lay ahead.